Alright everyone, welcome back again to more Muv-Luv Alternative. Things are starting to get heated with this particular ep in terms of, well, what the Shogun wants as well as what Maya wants. And depending on how things goes, it could get even more problematic, or for all we know, things could finally be settled. But I doubt it's going to go that way, but we're going to see how it all turns out from here on in. So if anything else, hope you all continue to enjoy. Thank you again for your love and support. And here we go.
されどこの身を殿下のお役に立てる機会、今を置いて他にございません。何とぞ。
For your life to be of use. Dude. You've gotta be kidding me. Is that really the only way for you to feel like your life has meaning? Are you implying that your only purpose in life is to serve as the Shogun's body double? And yet, I can't rebuke her for it. She's lived her entire life believing that's the sole reason for her existence. I can't just deny her that, but still.
そなたの申し出、大変嬉しく思います。されどこれは、私自身が果たさねばならぬ責務。
恐れながら殿下、御身の責務とはそのようなことではございますまい。民を慈しみ、国土を育み、そしてそれらを広く深い徳をもって治め導く、それこそが御身に課せられた第一の責務ではございませぬか。 今、殿下に万に一つの大事あらば、遠からず帝国は滅びましょう。こたびの騒乱の責任が御身にあると申されるならば、今数要なのは、かの者たちを御自ら中することではございますまい。
So you drew the same conclusion, huh? Even without changing a single word with her. Damn. Guess you really are in tune with Her Highness's feelings.
ご心痛いかばかりかと存じますが、事後の民のためを第一にお考えくださいますよう、伏して申し上げます。
Excuse me. Damn, Maya. You carried an enormous burden on your shoulders since the day you were born, and just look how nobly you're bearing it. You two aren't polar opposites, like light and shadow. You're just the Shogun's twin sister, plain and simple.
説得の大任、何とぞご裁可いただきますよ。
You know, I just realized something. When I first came to this world, despite how different everything was, I feel like things just naturally fell back into place between us. Well, naturally might not be the right word. I mean, you're the exact same person no matter what world you're in. That's insane. To call that a natural phenomenon is underselling it big time. If anything, it's supernatural.
わかりました。そなたに任せます。
謹んで拝命いたします。
そなたであれば、あるいは私より神妙にかの者たちを説きつけるやもしれませんね。
She probably could too. Your Highness.
冒険少さん、いかがでしょう。この者の案であれば、そなたにもご助力願えますか。
恐れながら殿下、改めて反対させていただきます。
ご説明願えませんか、少佐。
確かに殿下が危険にさらされるという最大の問題は回避された。だが私が反対した理由はそれだけではない。説得さえできれば何の問題もないが、それが成功するという確証はない。よって説得が失敗した場合の次善策は強行突破となるが、その状況下では 敵の包囲を突破することは非常に難しくなるだろう。一番大きな問題が戦力の分散だ。頭数で不利な現状では絶対に避けるべきだろう。次が将軍登場期露見の確率が高まること。つまり強行突破の場合、殿下の上記を特定させず敵に攻撃をためらわせることが最大の利点なのだが、説得に向かった期待と真実味を演出するために随伴した護衛機の分、敵は的を絞りやすくなるというわけだ。加えて言うなら、殿下が偽物だと発覚した時の敵の反応は予測不能だ。今までの注意の話から想像するに凄まじい怒りを買うだろうがな。あくまでも我らの任務は殿下を無事に横浜基地にお連れすることだ。無論これ以上の血を流さずに済めばそれに越したことはないが、以上の点において現状最も目的遂行の可能性が高い作戦は依然、戦力を集中した中央突破に勝るものはない。
数字で考えれば確かにそのようですね。
理詰めで固められる部分は可能な限り固める。数字が全てではないにしてもだ。
少佐のご意見に異を唱えたわけではありません。むしろ訓練兵を替え玉に使うことで少佐の作戦の成功率を引き上げることが可能ではないかと考えます。
構わん、続けろ。注意。
は、まずこの訓練兵が決起部隊の説得に成功するならばそれでよし。
その通り。
Did Tsukuyomi-san really just refer to Meiya as this cadet? Is she trying to keep Major Walken from guessing Meiya's exact relationship to the Shogun? I suppose that makes sense, yeah.
説得に失敗した場合でもこの者に注意を引きつけることで殿下をお乗せした機体の脱出をより容易にすることができます。その理由は決起軍部隊の目的が我々の殲滅ではないからです。殿下さえ手に入れば逃げる者は追わないでしょう。彼らとてそこまでの余裕はないはずです。
She's saying that even if Meiya fails to negotiate with them, we can at least ditch her and get to the Shogun to safety?
仮にこの者が決起軍に拘束されたとしても替え玉であることに気づく頃には殿下は横浜基地に到着しております。
Would I be able to abandon Meiya the same way I abandoned the old lady at Mount Tengen? I mean, hell, I couldn't even give Her Highness the Triazolum. Is this something I'm willing to do? If it means bringing Alternative 4 to completion?
一つ聞くが、今のプランは殿下のお望みとはだいぶかけ離れているが、近衛軍としては構わないと。
この状況下で全体無事に帰還できる可能性はいかなる作戦においても大差ないものと考えます。殿下のご提案とてそれは同じこと。説得が成功しても決起した者たちはいずれ処刑されます。殿下もそれを踏まえた上で先ほどのご決断をなされたということです。
Wow, that explains why she wanted to do it herself. Captain Sagiri and his men would much rather die at the hands of the Shogun herself than be court-martialed and executed as a traitor. She knew what what they would have wanted, even without hearing it directly from their mouths.
でもよ、ここに残していったらあのばあさん死ぬぞ。心の神様は噴火を止めたりはしてくれない。メイヤがあのばあさんを大切に思うなら見殺しにするような真似をしていいのか。
私はあのご老人が亡くなるかどうかは正直あまり問題ではないと思っている。
あ？
命があれば良いという単純な問題ではない。生きているのと生かされているのとではまるで違う。
けどお前死んじまったら。
そこに自分の意志があるかどうかが問題なのだ。それが反映できるかどうかが問題なのだ。
言いたいことはわかるけどさ。
タケルも考えてみてほしい。自分の大切なものが自分の意志とは無関係に奪われてしまうのだ。
This is just like what happened back at Mount Tengen. Maya didn't see any problem with granting that old woman's death wish, but despite that, she was willing to break military regulations to protect that which the woman most held dear. Yet again, it all comes down to those core beliefs and convictions. Wait, hang on a second. That old lady was at the mercy of the forces of nature, with an impending volcanic eruption threatening that which she held dear. Just like how so many others are at the mercy of powers beyond their control, what with the alternative program and all the plots to dismantle it threatening that which they hold dear. And just like how Maya said it didn't matter if the old lady died as long as it was what she wanted. Right now, Her Highness is preparing a way for the rebels to die while still taking their wishes into account. Could it be that these two incidents seem so similar to me because... Nah, I'm just overthinking things. This world's timeline branched off a long time ago. I'm the one who changed it. By my own two hands.
殿下、そこまで。
斧が未熟。恥じるばかりです。
少佐は何か勘違いをされておられるようですが、この絵は常に殿下の安全を最優先としているに過ぎません。我々の観点で少佐の作戦以上に殿下のご提案が、そしてそれ以上にこの訓練兵の策が殿下の安全において優れていると判断したまでです。
なるほど。これまでの注意の言動が感情に支配されたものではなかったことは私にとって良いニュースだ。
では少佐、作戦をいかがなさいますか？
うん。
This sorry state of affairs isn't anybody's fault. I mean, none of this would have happened if I hadn't changed the future. Not that I think that makes it, excuse me, my responsibility, of course, but even so, I need to do something to help put an end to this mess. The same way Maya has, and Her Highness has. If I'm going to speak up, then now's my only chance, and it can't be anyone else but me. How do I feel about this plan? Ooh. Okay. This is heavy. You know what? All in. Let's see how it goes. I say that and I'm hesitating. Alright. I saved, so whatever happens, happens. Yeah, I support Maya's plan. I can confidently say that it's the best choice in this situation. If we can get Captain Sagiri to surrender now, it's all over. This plan's the only one that might just prevent further bloodshed. And since we're already strapped for time with Alternative 5 looming on the horizon, that's exactly what we should be aiming for. Which means it's the only plan I can get behind. Obviously, the prospect of Maya being made into a decoy if things go south still bothers me. If it comes down to it, Maya could very well be the next one to die. But she takes pride in having devoted her life to being the Shogun's body double. To deny her this opportunity would be like saying she's lived her entire life for nothing. Any rational person back in my world would try to stop her from doing this, but that would be stepping all over the person she truly is. From Maya's perspective, not being allowed to fulfill that role would be a fate worse than death. Just like how the old lady at Mount Tengen felt about leaving her home. If anything, I should be focusing on what I can do to help ensure Maya's safety. Even if she fails to persuade them, they won't do anything to her right away, as long as her cover isn't blown. And from the way she carries herself, why would they ever suspect a thing in the first place? Would it even be possible to prove she wasn't the Shogun? I mean, she's barely even an imposter. The two of them could trade places any time and we'd be none the wiser. Major, requesting permission to speak.
まったく、国連の訓練兵は次から次へと。
白金、控えていろ。
Thank you, sir. I'll take that as a yes, sir. I hereby volunteer myself to escort the Shogun's imposter. Maya, back at Mount Tengen, you've left me with no choice but to help you. This time, it'll be different. This time, I'm gonna be the one carrying the team. But I'm not just gonna let you die out there, either. I'm gonna do what you did for the old lady at Mount Tengen and protect the life of someone I hold dear. And so this time, it's your turn, Maya. Entrust me with your life, and together we'll create a brighter future for mankind.
白金黙れ。
待て軍曹、
少佐。
あの訓練兵多少気になっていたのだな。言ってみろ。
Something about me? What, just because we spoke during the mission? Not to look a gift horse in the mouth, of course. Yes, sir. First of all, while Her Highness may have some amount of piloting experience, it would still seem unnatural for her to be approaching the rebels in a TSF of her own under these circumstances. We scrapped the idea of having Her Highness personally execute the rebels, so there's no reason to use that Takemikazuchi for this, and I don't want to give Maya the chance to try something herself.
待て、タケル。
Maya?
待つのは貴様だ、三剣訓練兵。
は。
Damn it, Maya. That look on your face couldn't be more obvious. So you were planning to fight the rebels by yourself after all. Well, sorry, but I'm afraid I can't let that happen. As I was saying, since Her Highness has been riding in my TSF this whole time, it would make the most sense to have her imposter ride with me as well, so as to not raise rebel suspicion. And we're pretty much going back full circle with the original timeline where she did ride with me. Chances are, they've already guessed that the Shogun was most likely riding in my TSF based on our prior formations, so it would make our request to meet and negotiate seem a lot more legitimate. And considering what might happen if negotiations should fail, it makes way more sense to have all the actual surface pilots stay back to protect Her Highness, and let a cadet like me fill this role. For a bunch of rookies, our squad's done really well so far. Yuko Sensei's new OS packs quite a punch if Maya and I can just keep the rebels distracted. It should just at least buy the others enough time to haul ass over to the old Shimoda or thereabouts. And in the events we both get captured, the fact that I'm not wearing a cadet's fortified suit will work to our advantage. Having her ride in a training TSF can be explained as an act of camouflage, but no way in hell are they going to believe if she was left in the hands of a mere cadet. That's just going to raise needless suspicions. In addition, my TSS passenger safety belt is already attached and ready to go, so we can move out immediately.
訓練兵、他に言いたいことがあれば聞いておこう。
Yes, looks like I've got him on the ropes. Not to seal the deal. I'm sure the rebels truly do believe they're only acting in Her Highness's best interest, and I also recognize that they didn't start this rebellion just for the sake of it. It's just that the way they chose to go about it is in no way justifiable. However, I'd wager that most Japanese people can relate to their cause even if they disagree with the actions they took. I'm a UN surface pilot, but more than that, I'm a Japanese citizen. And, well, that's why I get where they're coming from. In that sense, they may have already accomplished much of what they were trying to do. Major, there's no perfect way to resolve this conflict, but if we suppress this rebellion by force, it'll only be a matter of time before the history repeats itself. Furthermore, an intervention by an already unpopular US forces will only serve to deepen the animosity already lurking in the people's hearts. Major, you called Japan foolish for staging a rebellion in the midst of our ongoing war with the Beta. But you have to understand that Japan is on the front lines of that war. People are constantly being pushed to their physical and mental limits by the fear of imminent death. And their reverence for Her Highness is one of the greatest reasons they still manage to endure. If she were to send these rebels to their deaths with the help of the US Army, after they've risen up in righteous fury, it wouldn't be long before a similar but more organized rebellion broke out, and once again, the US Army would be called on to snuff them out. If that were to happen, who knows how many American lives would be lost? Certainly far more than this time, I can tell you that much. And if the people lose their faith in the Shogun as a result of this incident, there won't be anyone left to stop it. Who knows? He could even compromise the Far East's final defense line, marking the beginning of the end for all of mankind. In fact, the end's already begun. You guys just don't know it yet. If Japan were to fall, well, there'd be nothing but ocean between the Beta and the American soil. And that's not much of an obstacle for them. At that point, you can forget about your cost-benefit analysis. The losses would be far too massive to count. And in the end, we'd abandon the Earth for a desperate flight to another star system, not even knowing if we'd ever make it there alive. Sorry, but I just can't let that happen. I won't. And if we can persuade these rebels here and now, it'll never have to come to that. Please, sir. You have to let us do this.
よせ白金、何を取り乱している。
Forgive me, sir. Crap, I got all worked up thinking about Alternative 5 and let my emotions get the best of me. Please, Major, if you send just the two of us in my TSF, we can keep the sacrifice to a minimum even in the worst case scenario. Please.
言いたいことは終わりか？
Yes, sir.
訓練兵、確か貴様は私の命令を実行することをためらったな。
Ah, of course he'd bring up the whole Trail Zolan thing. Yes, sir, and I sincerely apologize for that.
貴様が指揮官だったとして、このような重要な任務を命令の実行をためらうような兵士に任せるか？
Shit. Why am I not surprised that this is coming back to bite me? No, sir, I wouldn't.
では、それが分かっていながらなぜ志願した？
No point in beating around the bush. Might as well just be honest. Sir, I regret to admit that until just moments ago, I was too afraid to be held accountable for my actions and their consequences.
まさかとは思うけど、何の犠牲もなく何かを得ることができるなんて考えていないでしょうね。じゃあ、自分が関与することで人が助かるのはいいけど、一人でも死人が出るのはごめんだってこと？
I guess from here on in, we're finally going to take responsibility for our own actions, right? Yeah, it's just like Yuko-sensei said. I was afraid of getting directly involved in anything that might turn out badly. I couldn't even obey Her Highness when she told me to listen to her orders.
殿下が？
I've been giving it a lot of thought ever since, and it might be because I'm still new to this country, but I don't think I originally felt any emotional involvement in this uprising. Specifically, because I'm not from this world's Japan to begin with. If anything, I felt it was just another obstacle getting in the way of my objectives, because I know the future that awaits this world. I was furious that people would even consider fighting amongst themselves at such a crucial time as this. I thought they were being totally childish. But over the course of this operation, I've been exposed to many different viewpoints from people with many different backgrounds, and now, I'm not sure what to think anymore. The UN and America, people from the US military and the IRG, the parents of everyone in Squad 207, Captain Sagiri, Major Walken, First Lieutenant Tsukuyomi, and Her Highness. I can understand where everyone's coming from here, but I don't know what to make of it myself. I guess you could say I never really had any clear convictions or core beliefs of my own. In other words, the only thing pushing me forward has been my sense of obligation towards my objective. It was never anything deeper than that. But after all we've been through today, one thing's been made abundantly clear to me. And I have Mei and Her Highness to thank for that. While I may not feel the same convictions or share the same core beliefs, at the end of the day, I'm still a Japanese citizen at heart. In any world and in any timeline, I'm still a part of this country. As long as I don't lose sight of that fact, it can serve as a basis to help guide the decisions I make and how I go about achieving my goals. As someone who's seen this country both prosper and be driven to the brink of extinction, I've got a better frame of reference than anyone on this stuff. And once I've made those decisions, I won't shy away from getting my hands dirty. I'll accept the outcomes of my actions. I may not be a miracle worker, but if something goes wrong, I'll at least face up to the consequences. If all I did was run from my problems, I'd be no different from the people who already want to resort to Alternative 5. I'm still figuring this out, but those conclusions convinced me to volunteer. That's all, sir.
一つ聞くが、貴様の目標とは何だ？
I knew he was gonna question me on my objective. For mankind to win this war, sir. That's one thing that'll never change no matter what. What? No response? I'm being totally serious here.
まさかとは思うが、食材のための志願ではないだろうな。
Atonement? What? For not obeying your orders earlier? No, I'm doing this because I feel it's my duty, sir. Not only does the plan give Her Highness the best opportunity to escape, it also has a chance of resolving the entire situation while still taking Her Highness's sympathy for the rebels and Maya's wishes into account. It's got a lot going for it. So please, Major, I'm begging you.
実践が訓練兵を鍛え上げたということなのか。
Huh?
貴様の考えはよく分かった。だが、貴様のタイプ97が短期で向かうというのはいかにも不自然だな。
Major?
この絵の直縁は真実味の上でも必要であろうな。でありましょう、少佐。
Tsukuyomi-san? I see. She must have been planning to accompany Maya from the start. Which makes sense, of course. No way in hell she'd ever let Maya go alone.
貴様たちのプランを採用する。替え玉は白金木に登場。直縁はつくよみ注意とする。
了解。
Roger.
殿下、ご裁可いただけますか？
はい。
では殿下、緊急事態ですので、先に兵を解散させますご無礼をお許しください。
構いません。儀礼よりも軍務を優先なさるがよい。
ご後輩賜り恐れ入ります。
ウォーケン少佐。
は。
そなたに心よりの感謝を。
殿下、これは任務です。そのお言葉、召喚にはもったいないと存じます。後部員夕日殿下に対し敬礼。各自戦術機の起動準備後、指示があるまで待機。解散。
This is getting so exciting, guys. I'm looking forward to seeing how this happens. What happens from here on, you know? Now that, Takeru has his conviction set.
敬礼。
貴様はくれぐれも正体が見破られぬよう準備を整えておけ。
了解。
恵比寿、巴へ。殿下のお召し替えを。
了解いたしました。
注意と軍曹は5分以内に部下への指示を終わらせ、私のところへ来い。作戦の詳細を検討する。
了解。
Mari, Sergeant Jinguji, I apologize for my unwarranted interruption.
今は作戦を成功させることだけを考えろ。いいな。
Yes, ma'am.
基地に帰ったらみっちり教育してやる。笑ったり泣いたりできないようにしてやるから覚悟しておけ。
If we make it back, I'm pretty sure I still will be. Marimo-chan. Understood. I was fully prepared to accept the consequences when I spoke up, but I guess I did kind of undermine Marimo-chan's authority. I feel pretty bad about that. Oh, First Lieutenant. What's up with her? Why is she staring at me like that? Something wrong? Is she gonna chew me out for that little rant of mine? I'm sure it must have sounded pretty childish, and I did kind of let my emotions take control for a while. So there's no shortage of things for her to criticize me for.
殿下がお話になったのか。
Huh? What does she mean? Told me what? About her relationship to Maya, maybe?
いや、いいんだ。
Lieutenant?
メイヤ様を頼む。
Yes, ma'am.
Hunter 1より各機、これより作戦を伝える。優先終了60秒前、オープンチャンネルにてつく読み注意が決起軍に対し交渉の意思があることを通告する。敵が交渉に応じればプラン A を継続、拒絶した場合はプラン B を優先する。 プラン B はプラン A 第2フェーズ以降の流れとほぼ同一であり、作戦開始時の
Something wrong?
いや、なんでもない。
It's so weird seeing her in that outfit. Is she feeling nervous? Well, not that I can blame her. I'm pretty tense myself. Hey, is it too hot for you? Or too cold? She's not wearing a fortified suit, so I should at least ask.
よい、大丈夫だ。
Well, okay then. She's about to negotiate with the rebels by pretending to be the shogun. Not exactly an easy task. Gotta make sure she's as comfortable as possible.
私のことは気にするでない。そなたはブリーフィングに集中するがよい。
Roger. I gotta say, now that I'm seeing her dressed like this, she really does look the part. And that's coming from someone who was in close quarters with Shogun until just an hour ago. I don't see how anyone who doesn't see her on a regular basis would be able to tell them apart.
では引き続きプラン A の説明に入る。まずは下記の配置からだ。
I was gonna say, for one thing, their hair color is different. I mean, outside of that, their mannerisms as well. But again, it's one of those things where you gotta kind of have to get to know them a little bit to tell the difference.
殿下に扮した三剣訓練兵は国連軍20706に登場している。交渉の場には福読み注意の1901が直縁として随伴する。ハンター2は丸の山側、ハンター3、ハンター4は岩山側より狙撃態勢で待機。現在殿下は帝国近衛軍1902に登場している。直縁は1903および1904。三剣訓練兵の20702を中心に後方で待機。
了解。
国連軍20703丸号の火器はその前方を固めろ。
了解。
状況次第では包囲の突破を試みる。理想的なのは伊豆高原方面へ脱出することだ。国連軍20700、01、04の火器は岩山南西部にて待機。
了解。
説得交渉のタイムリミットは交渉開始後20分とする。可能な限り時間を稼げ。
了解。
So he wants us to drag it out as close to 20 minutes as we can.
増援が合流する可能性を少しでも高めたいのであろう。
Which would mean
20分を経過した段階でプラン A 第2フェーズに行こう。反乱軍を一部撃破し包囲を突破する。その際20702はオートパイロットで敵に突っ込ませる。この段階で訓練兵の正体がバレていなければ20706は敵を引きつけろ。殿下の直縁機以外は丸6をカバーし、おとりにリアリティを与えるんだ。
I see. As long as the rebels think I have Her Highness, their whole force should chase after my TSF once I make a break for it.
敵を引きつけたところでプラン A 第3フェーズに行こう。殿下の搭乗機を脱出させる。また交渉が決裂したと判断された場合には即時プラン A 第2フェーズに行こう。各自心しておけ。
Maya, it's gonna be okay. You can do this.
戦闘が発生した場合20706、1901は交代しつつハンター2、ハンター3および4と合流。本体に接近する敵機を迎え撃て。その時には待機中の20700、01、04の火器もハンター隊に合流しろ。03と05は後方よりそれを支援せよ。
了解。
帝国近衛軍1902以下の火器は包囲の薄くなった点を突破し白浜を目指せ。
了解。
なお本作戦中は情報漏洩を防ぐためにデータリンクの使用は禁じる。作戦の成否は各自の的確な判断にかかっていることを忘れるな。諸君の検討に期待する。
了解。
作戦開始まであと17分。火器10分以内に所定の位置につけ。以上だ。
It's finally time. There's no way of knowing what might happen from here on out. But I'm gonna make it through this. If I can't overcome a tiny hurdle like this, there's no way I could ever save humanity. I know you'll be able to talk them down.
無論だ。
サギリ大尉に次ぐ。私は帝国近衛軍第19独立警備小隊のつくよみ中尉である。
Here we go.
応答せよ。私は帝国近衛軍第19独立警備小隊のつくよみ中尉である。
私は帝国本土防衛軍帝都守備連隊サギリ大尉である。
He responded.
機関らの熟慮の結果、聞かせていただこ
この通信は機関の要求に対する回答をするためではない。
う。では何のための通信か。
殿下が直々に機関と会って話されることを望まれている。
それは事実か。
それは機関が決めればよい。殿下のご要望、疑うも信ずるも機関次第であろ
う。了解した。謁見の手はずを聞こ
う。殿下がお召しの国連軍機に現部隊にある全近衛軍4機が随伴する。
Huh? Why are you adding more escorts? That wasn't part of the plan.
国連軍機には殿下の他に兵士が登場していることを念のために断っておく。
落ち合う場所は天城高原インターチェンジ跡から直線にして約400メートルほど北西、伊豆スカイライン跡が河川及び道路跡と交差する地点としたい。いかがか。
場所は確認した。そちらの手はずに従おう。だが接触後、殿下にはこちらで用意する機体にお召し替えいただく。それが条件だ。機関はさておいても、国連軍及びアメリカ軍の介入は明らかに主権侵害である。殿下のお言葉であれば、どのようなものでも賜る覚悟が我々にはある。だが、その場に国連軍及びアメリカ軍が立ち会う道理はない。
Damn it, Tsukuyomi-san. What do we do now? I'm guessing you requested additional escorts so you could retract them during the bargaining phase. All you've done is made him paranoid. At this rate, negotiations are gonna fail before they even get off the ground.
機関の主張は理解した。だが、その条件は受け入れられない。その条件は、当初の引き渡し要求を受諾するに等しい。そのような状況を殿下がお望みではないがゆえに、こたび謁見の運びとなったと知るがよい。
何故我々は殿下のご尊頼を仰げないというのだ。それは殿下のご意志ではなく、機関らの目論見ではないのか。
先ほども申したであろう。それを決めるのは機関だと。殿下はこれ以上の争いを望んでおられない。混乱を鎮めるために介入した国連軍とアメリカ軍に対し、理解と感謝の念を示されている。それは同族相はむ無用な戦いを良しとされず、それに巻き込まれ苦しむ国民をおもんばかられた殿下のご診療に他ならない。殿下のご心痛、機関であれば手に取るようにわかるはず。今ここで殿下のご意志を軽んじ、無益な戦いをこれ以上長引かせることが機関らの言う断りにかなうものかどうか再考されよ。
Nicely done, Tsukuyomi-san. Her ability to relate to the captain's feelings really helped her corner him. Now he's got no choice but to go along with it.
先の条件は撤回する。国連英士の随伴も認めよ
う。了解。ではこちらも直縁を私のみとさせていただく。
殿下の直縁が一機だと。機関はそれでもこの絵の将校か。
Oh, I get it now. So this is why she said there'd be more escorts before. The captain took it as a given that any Imperial officer would send as many Royal Guard escorts as they possibly could. And Tsukuyomi-san understood how sincere the captain was about this, so she knew he'd go suspicious if she didn't request a sizable escort.
これもまた殿下のおぼし飯である。そもそも殿下は機関らの謁見に警護は無用とまで仰せになっていたのだ。
なんと。
されどまず機関の志の真偽を見定め、その上でせめて一機はお供させていただくよう私が検索差し上げたまでのこと。
殿下。
機関を背踏みしたことは詫びる。されど直営が一機というよしは機関を信ずる殿下の御心の証であると知るがよい。
恐れ多いことだ。
ここは殿下のご厚情を賜るがよいであろう。
Man, it must have been tough for her to lie to the captain like that, even if it was for Her Highness's sake.
理解了解した。ではこれより謁見の場に向かう。
その場には先んじて殿下をお連れする。機関は私の連絡を待て。
待て。それでは礼に失する。私が先立ち殿下をお迎えするべきだ。
機関の上位は理解している。されどここは殿下の保安を預かる私の差配に従っていただく。
なるほど、了解した。機関が務めを果たすことに依存はない。
What the hell, man? From the way this conversation's going, you'd think he's the one that's been surrounded. He keeps giving in without an argument every time we mention the Shogun. Wouldn't your average rebel leader suspect some sort of trap? Considering how hard he's been fighting against the UN and US forces, the guy seems way too trusting. Naive even.
こちらは2機で出向く。では、機関からの通信を待つ。以上だ。
I guess it just goes to show how fiercely loyal Captain Sagiri is to the Shogun. But then, why didn't he obey her order to stop the fighting in the capital? The fact that he's giving Tsukuyomi the benefit of the doubt here makes me think he really might just be looking for an honorable death. Maybe he sees this as one final chance to speak with Her Highness in person?
タケル。
I know. It's finally time.
1901より20706詐欺帯域と随伴機の接近を確認。丸6正面20メートルにて停止。詐欺隊員が機外に出て殿下をお迎えする。
2706, copy that. It seems Captain Sagiri has arrived, Your Highness. Please prepare yourself to speak with him.
聞こえていた。イヤフォンの感度は良いようだ。
His TSF's external mic should pick up your voice just as well, so you shouldn't need to talk too loudly.
わかった。
I can almost feel how anxious she is right now. I can't even imagine what she must be going through. Because of the noble blood running through her veins, she's always had a lot of responsibility on her shoulders. But I bet it's never felt quite this heavy. Must be pretty tough on Maya to be called Her Highness, when she's just a body double. Even if it is just part of the mission. Tougher than I could ever imagine, probably. But hopefully, she'll manage, because we definitely can't let Captain Sagiri get suspicious. Holy shit, that was a direct landing from the boost jump with only 21 centimeters of error. No wonder they're called the elites of the Capitol Guard. Their piloting skills are insane. Wait, so if a fight does break out, what then? Sure, the new OS makes piloting my Fubuki a total cinch, but would we even stand a chance against those guys at our skill level?
1901より20706隊員の準備が完了した。謁見を開始する。
2706, copy that. Here we go, Maya. Okay, Your Highness. Let's move out. So that's Captain Sagiri, huh?
そなたがサギリか。
はっ。拝謁の栄誉を賜り、誠に恐悦至極にございます。私は 帝国本土防衛軍帝都防衛第一師団第一戦術機構連隊所属三入直也大尉であります。
表を上げるがよい。
はっ。
こたびこのような形でそなたと顔を合わせねばならぬこと、誠に遺憾です。
No, she is good. I can feel the aura of the Shogun in her too. That's great, Maya. You look as dignified as the Shogun herself. I can't even see a trace of that anxiety from before. Your gestures and body language seem perfectly natural too. Exactly, even he sees it.
殿下に多大なるご心労をおかけいたしましたこと、途端の苦しみでございます。されど帝国に救った逆賊どもを討ち、すべての海を出し切るまで、今しばらくの間、ご容赦を賜りたく存じます。
私はそなたたちをかような立場に追い込んでしまった自らの不甲斐なさが口惜しいのです。
殿下、
そなたの声明にあったように、帝国議会や軍の在り方と私の意志との間に浅くない溝ができてしまっていたことは事実です。されどかの者はかの者なりに国と民とそして世界を思い、それを救うために力を尽くしてきたに違いありません。その思いが純粋であるがゆえに、齟齬や対立が生まれるのは往々にして起こりうること。そしてそれを御しきれぬ我が不徳こそが責められるべきなのです。
恐れながら殿下、将軍のご尊命において行われるべき政が殿下のご意志と違えているという現状こそが許されざることなのです。無論人のなすことに絶対はございません。ですがそれを正そうとする心を持たぬ輩は、殿下のそのようなお言葉ですら都合の良い隠れ蓑に利用しているのです。齟齬が生じたならば、それを正すのは殿下ではなく政府や軍でありましょう。しかし残念ながら今の彼らにそのような自浄作用はもはや望むべくもありません。先の帝都での戦闘の際、仙台臨時政府から伝えられた殿下のお言葉は即時無条件武装解除でした。しかもその命を伝えられたのは顧みるにすでに殿下が帝都城におられないはずの時刻。大方かの者たちが握りつぶそうとしていた折、殿下のご不在を知り急遽偽名を発したのでございましょう。
I see.
なぜ殿下は全軍に戦闘をやめるように命令しなかったんですか？
もちろんしたとも。
え？だったらなぜ？
Aren't they all fully devoted to her?
悪い癖が治っていないな、白金かける。そういう現状を嘆いた連中が決起したんじゃないのかね。
The surrender and retreat order came from the provisional government, so even though they claimed it was a decree from the shogun herself, he didn't believe it. And yet, when he spoke with Tsukuyomi-san earlier, he was convinced she really did speak on behalf of Her Highness. So he complied without question. That makes sense. But of course, we're just as guilty of deception. The only reason it worked out for us is because Tsukuyomi-san understands the rebel mindset. She knew how to word it in a way they'd find believable.
幸い私どもは誠のご加盟の内容を去る信頼できる筋の者から聞き及んでいましたので、かの者の関係に陥ることはございませんでした。
A trustworthy source. He's not talking about Chief Yoroi, is he?
私が決起せし同志たちに戦闘停止を命じたのは、 かの者たちが用意した偽名のはるか以前にございます。されど何故かの者たちは殿下の命を私どもに伝えなかったのか。恐れながらかの者たちこそが逆賊。殿下がお心を痛める由はみじんもございません。
先ほどテートで戦闘が始まった。
Huh? Those stupid thugs? They actually went and did it?
未確認ではあるが、テート城を包囲していた歩兵部隊の一部がこのエ軍部隊に向け発砲したことが発端らしい。
Infantry soldiers? Then they were using small arms?
それに対し、このエ軍第二連隊が全力で応戦。サギリ大尉の戦闘停止声明も発表されたが、混乱は収拾できていない。
Those dumbasses. This is insane. What the hell is this Sagiri guy even doing? Can he not even control his own troops? At the time, I just chalked it up to Sagiri's lack of leadership skills. But maybe the powers that be actually wanted Fine to break down the capital. Or was it the provisional government in Sendai? Are they trying to make this happen? Huh? What's going on, Maya? Why aren't you saying anything? Come on, Maya. He's gonna start getting suspicious. Hurry up and say something.
大尉、そなたの申すことはわかります。されど、今の帝国のありさま、これが将軍である私の責任である由は何ら変わるところではない。
Don't scare me like that.
アメリカ軍や国連軍の介入を許してしまっているのもまたしかり。故に、そなたたちが私のために血を流す必要はないのです。
That's the way. At this rate, we're finally gonna put an end to all this infighting. I don't think Captain Sagiri can argue with the Shogun to her face. We just gotta lay on the heat.
恐れながら殿下の潔く崇高な御心に触れ、万感こもごも至り、心洗われる思いにございます。しかしながらアメリカ軍及び国連軍の介入は重大な内政干渉であり、国家主権を脅かす蛮行である事実は決して変わることではありません。ことここに至り、ようやく賜りました機会、かかる事態を招いた不面目を棚に上げてでも殿下にお伝えせねばならないことがございます。
申すがよい。
こたびの件はアメリカの思惑を成就せんがための計りごとにございます。
Hang on. Where's he going with this?
テートでの戦闘はテート城警備の近衛部隊に対して我が同志部隊が先制攻撃を仕掛けたことが発端となったとされています。結果的にそれは事実であります。されど部隊指揮官は発砲を命じておらず、一兵士が暴走し上官に射殺されるまで発砲を続け、反撃に出た近衛部隊に対し撤退しながら応戦したというのが事の顛末です。そして不思議なことに、同じ時刻に同様のことがテート城の周囲数カ所で発生いたしておりました。その中のとある部隊の将校が命令を無視して発砲した兵士を射殺せずに逮捕し連行してきたのです。精査の結果、その兵士はアメリカ諜報機関の工作員であることが判明いたしました。
Oh crap, this is bad. Maya doesn't know anything about this. I mean, she may have had her suspicions, but having Captain Sagiri spell it out here and now could really throw a wrench in things.
極東での復権を望むアメリカ政府はアメリカ軍派遣の口実を作るためテートでの騒乱を望んだのです。テートの戦闘からアメリカ軍が殿下を救出し保護し 日本の騒乱を平定する。これがアメリカの当初を描いた筋書きです。そしてまたアメリカ軍をたやすく引き入れ、殿下の戦闘停止命令を握りつぶした仙台臨時政府の者たちこそが帝都を戦火にさらした張本人なのです。さりとてそれを許した私の罪、拭えるものではないことは重々承知しております。
Her Highness already knows most of this, which is why she was planning to grant the captain and his men an honorable death. But when Maya volunteered to take her place, she did it purely based on the information available to her. She just wanted to respect Her Highness's decision. She never knew her underlying motives. And whether he's telling the truth or not, this is information only gonna make her feel more sympathetic to the rebel cause. Hell, it even made me feel pretty conflicted when I heard about it, and I used to think this rebellion was totally inexcusable. Wait, you're not crying, are you? What the hell are you doing? You're supposed to be Her Highness. Weren't you willing to sacrifice yourself for that duty? I get how you feel, but you can't let your emotions get the best of you right now. Her Highness would never cry in front of Captain Sagiri. She'd wait until she was completely alone and only then let herself mourn for the rebels and their victims. And Her Highness knew even more about the situation, so she must have been feeling far more conflicted. No matter how hard she tried to protest, her words fell on deaf ears. She was forced to just sit and watch as these events played themselves out. But she still felt like she had to help somehow, so she used herself as bait to draw the fighting away from the capital. And even in her hour of mourning, she still wanted to give Captain Sagiri an honorable death at her hands. How is she able to do all this? Is it just because she's the shogun? Because her position won't allow her to just run away from her problems? No. It's because of how deeply she still cares for her people in spite of everything. It's because all she wants is to create a brighter future for Japan. One where people can live in harmony with one another and be proud of their heritage. And because she genuinely believes the government and the military are also doing their best to make that dream a reality. That's why she silently resigned herself to this state of affairs, no matter how wrong it seemed to the rest of us. That's why she keeps telling anyone who objects to the status quo that she's the one they have to blame.
そこまで国を、民を、この公務員夕日を思うのならば。
Come on, Maya, hang in there.
何故そなたは人を切ったのですか?
Maya!
殿下。
血は血を呼び、争いは争いを生みます。そのような市議をもたらしたそなたたちのこたびの行い、それは私や民の心を汲んだものだと本当に言えるのでありましょうか?
Maya, you're...
将軍の意志を民に正しく伝えることがそなたたちの本意であったとしても、それが伝わらぬ者、それを阻む者を排除することが許される道理があろうか。それを許すのであれば、天元山の人々を力ずくで排除した政府を非難する資格、そなたにあろうはずがない。民の意志を語る資格があろうはずがない。国とは、日本という国は民の心にあるもの。そして将軍とはそれを民の心にある日本を映す鏡のようなもの。私はそう考えています。もし映すものがない鏡があったなら、それはなんと儚い存在であろうか。
Maya!
日本を守るというのはすなわち民を守るということ。民のない国などありはしないのです。 そなたがそれを一番分かっていながら道を誤ったのです。されど未だそなたたちに残された聖堂があります。そなたの過ちを注ぐ道が。一刻も早くこの争いを終わらせ、民を不安から解放せねばなりません。そしてそなたの志に賛同する者たちを一人でも多く救えるのはそなただけなのです。今ここで帝国軍やアメリカ軍、国連軍の将兵を一人でも多く救えるのはそなたしかいないのです。日本の行く末を憂うそなたの思い、そなたの志はこの私がしかと受け取りました。